What's good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in a building with another banger. Now, first things first, before we go ahead and get started today, I gotta say thank God for another day and another opportunity. Now, as y'all can see from the looks of the title and the screen, today I'm gonna be bringing y'all a very special video. Now, this is gonna be my dream lockdown build in NBA 2K24, and I'm gonna be showing y'all a replica of what this should be looking like in NBA 2K23. Now, out of all NBA players today, this one is really gonna remind me of Kawhi Leonard, and we're really gonna be able to focus on all of the four areas when it comes down to the finishing, shooting, playmaking, and defense. Now, as for the defense on this build, one of the most strong areas, and as for the others, like the post scoring and even the mid-range, you're definitely going to be able to see exactly how special this build can be. Now, as for the defense on this build, this is going to be the main focus today. I wanted to make sure that going into NBA 2K24, we have somewhat of an idea of what we should be expecting to make for our Season 1 build. Now, there will be a few other NBA players that this build does remind me of, like Kobe Bryant and Tracy McGrady. As for when it comes down to the position, we gotta go ahead and make it out of the small forward. And just before we get any further into today's video, if it's your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new, smash that like button, turn on post notifications to be a part of the Rich family, and last but definitely not least, comment down TG for Thank God King Jesus and where you're tuning in from, and I most definitely will be sure to get back to y'all with the response. So the first thing that we're going to go ahead and do today is put this build under the small forward position. Now, going into NBA 2K24, there will be a few different things, but as for this builder, let's go ahead and take what we know now and move forward with it. So as for when it comes down to the height, put this to 6'7". Now, moving on to the weight, we're going to go ahead and move this to 225. And then for that wingspan, I decided to go with 7'3", and I think these numbers are going to be somewhat of what we should be replicating in NBA 2K24. Now, the body shape, if we still have the same option, I'm going to go with defined. Now, from here, we're all set to move forward. So the first area that I want to get into will be the physicals. So for the speed, what I'm looking to make in NBA 2K24, it's definitely going to be a lockdown build that's going to be able to keep up with any other position. So I decided to go ahead and put this to an 84. And if you want to go further, that is definitely another option. As for the acceleration, I'm going to go with the 78. Moving on to the strength, this is definitely going to be something that you want to raise. So I'm going to go with an 82, and now we're pretty much able to guard any position. As for when it comes down to our vertical, go with the 72. And as for the stamina, I went with a 90. And these are going to be the numbers that I'm going to be looking to make going into the new game. Now, as for when it comes down to the defensive area, I'm going to go ahead and put this interior defense up to a 74. Perimeter definitely has to be much higher, so go with the 92. And then for the steal, I'm going to put this to a 77. For the block, go ahead and put this to a 43. Defensive rebound, 71. And finally, for the offensive rebound, put this to a 35. And right here, as you can see, we're going to be able to guard any position, especially with these defensive stats. Now, the main area that I did want to focus on was the interior and perimeter defense. As long as we do have this high steal rating, with these badges, of course, they will change throughout next year. But I think this is somewhat of what we should be looking to make. Now, if you want to, you can make your own adjustments. But the main thing that I'm really happy about is that we're still going to be able to grab some boards with a 6'7" build. Now, moving on to the playmaking, you can go ahead and put the pass accuracy up to a 72. As for the ball handle, put this all the way up to a 78. And these numbers will be adjustable to your own liking. I'm really basing everything off of the attributes and animations that we're able to unlock on NBA 2K23. So let's go ahead and say that it takes a certain number to get pro dribble moves in the new year. That is definitely something that I would take into consideration making this build on 2K24. As for when it comes down to the speed with the ball, I'm going to go with the 75. And now here, as you can see, we're pretty much going to be able to do a little bit of everything on the offense and the defensive end. Now, we still have the shooting and finishing to get into, but as long as we're able to dish and move around with the ball, I think this build definitely has some strong suit and potential going into the new year. As for the breakdown of the shooting, put this mid-range shot up to an 85. Moving on to the three-pointer, I'm going to go with the 76. And as for the free throw, put this to an 83. And in the new year, this will allow us to take this build into the rec and any game mode. Now, I feel like with a low 3-point rating, we're going to be able to be much more deadly when you do learn the timing in 2K24. As for the mid-range, this will pair up nicely when you take a look at the finishing when the build is complete. As for the badges, I know that in NBA 2K24, Mike Wang has already confirmed that badges will not affect anything when it comes down to your shooting percentage, so just something to take into consideration, and I think this makes the build just that much more better. Now, to wrap everything up with the finishing, put the post control to an 81. As for the driving dunk, I'm going to go with the 77. For the layup, put this to an 82, and the rest of the attributes, you can go ahead and put this into any area of your liking. I'm definitely going to go with the 90 close shot. Go ahead and raise this standing dunk to a 47, and right there, as you can see, we're going to be able to do a little bit of everything on this build for the finishing end. We do have that high rating for the post control, even better for the close shot. If you want to change the numbers to get contact dunks, that's definitely another option. But as for when it comes down to being a finisher all around the rim, this high layup rating is going to take a huge accountability for that as well. Now, the main thing that I'm happy about is the Hall of Fame post scoring badges. And on top of that, we even get Bully. And if that's still in NBA 2K24, I think pairing it up with Posterizer is something that I would look forward to. Now let's move forward when it comes down to the takeovers. We get the slashing, shot creating, lockdown, and post scoring, and I think this build replicates Kawhi Leonard perfectly. So the first one that I would definitely go with to be exactly like him is going to be first, pull-up precision or negative impact. The second one, I would definitely consider one of the lockdowns, of course, but look, the post scoring is definitely one that I think is going to make this build a lot better. Now, to be exactly like Kawhi, I would go with the extreme clamps. And then for that first takeover, you can even switch it to one of the post scoring or even go with pull-up precision like I mentioned earlier. Now from here, let's go ahead and check out the build to make sure that we made it correctly. And if you followed every single step of the way, this is something of what I would be making for my lockdown build in NBA 2K24. And as y'all can see, together we have created the one and only Kawhi the Claw Leonard lockdown build in NBA 2K23. Now, like I mentioned already, this is something that I would be looking forward to make as a template in the new year. And if you want to, make your own adjustments, but I'm much more excited because this game is just about 3 weeks away. Let me know down below your thoughts and opinion on this lockdown build. Now, I just want to say thank you to those of y'all who did make it this far into the video. And before we get out of here, if it was your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Smash that like button. Turn on post notifications to be a part of the Rich family. And last but definitely not least, comment down TG for Thank God King Jesus and where you're tuning in from. And I most definitely will be sure to get back to y'all with the response. And with all that being said though, I got one last thing to say. Rich out.